And good morning, everyone. Welcome to this day. Just about to the end of August, right? It's August 30th today, and coming up on Labor Day. I'll tell you about the weather in just a moment for our weekend, but it's going to be a hot one. On our show today, we're going to have a couple folks on from United. They're going to give us an update. We have Sue Margolis and Carl Rondonzo, and they're going to talk about M&C and a few other things as well. And we're going to get a report from the El Toro Water District with Mike Gaskins, one of the directors. And also we're bringing here today the owner of Santa Margarita Toyota, Jim Graham. And a real nice guy, and he's going to tell us about their dealership up there near where I live in Rancho Santa Margarita. No meetings today. In fact, there won't be any meetings because of Labor Day until Tuesday of next week. So let's get to the weather. And unfortunately, although today, not too bad, we're going to heat it up a little bit today. It is really going to start to heat up over the weekend. And we are looking at temperatures getting quite warm. And I'm being a little bit optimistic because, you know, we're situated here. We're close enough to the coast that we can see some of that cooling effect. But quite literally, just 5 miles away, will be at least in the mid-90s over the weekend, meaning Mission Viejo and the foothills and all. Up in the riverside areas, they're looking at 100 or more. So we're into some hot weather all the way through probably Tuesday, and humid weather as well because of that monsoonal moisture that is coming up from the Gulf Coast, and then it goes through the southwest and makes its way over here. There is still a chance of maybe on Monday of a thunderstorm somewhere in Southern California. They, you know, probably more the mountains, the high deserts, those areas, even the low deserts, even Palm Springs, but maybe a slight chance, when I'm talking like a 5 to 10% chance of possibly even a little system coming into Orange County. So we'll see about that. Around the state this weekend, it is really nice everywhere you go. The difference is in Southern California, we're going to be feeling a little bit more like Florida, but thankfully no hurricane involved. But I'm talking about hot and humid. Look at Palm Springs, 115 with a chance of a good level of humidity out there and a chance of a thunderstorm even hitting them on Monday. That's still a slight chance, but it is in the forecast. So everywhere else you go in the state is pretty darn mild. You know, it's nice for the last few days of August and into September. So enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hey Laguna Woods, it's Ken.
And Lisa.
Did you miss an episode of This Day? Not to worry. Head over to youtube.com and search Village Television.
Here you can find each episode of This Day and other community programs such as Good Day OC, Discovering Laguna Woods, and much more.
Just click the red subscribe button, then click the bell to be emailed every time we upload a video.
Don't miss out.
And subscribe today.
At the Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback, you will always find a friendly face to guide you through your annual mammogram visit. Our staff, dedicated subspecialist breast radiologists, knowledge and innovative technology await your visit to our center. With the Laguna Woods shuttle service right at our sidewalk, this convenient location offers you quick access for your appointment. You can expect nothing but the best for all your breast health needs at Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback.
I'm Dr. Leif Loberg, and I want to welcome you to our brand new facility here in Laguna Woods. We've been serving the community since 2006, and we're super excited to bring you an awesome team of doctors, Dr. Jackson, Dr. Asaturians, Dr. Vian, myself, here to serve you in our brand new state-of-the-art facility. Call us in the morning and we'll get you in the same day, guaranteed.
This is how we burger, brew, and cue. Pick a town. Arrive hungry, real hungry. Start with a massive burger. Charred, juicy, add bacon, a buttery bun, piled high. Serve it up, wash it down. Creamy, hoppy, fruity, malty. We're not done yet. Q time, deep fried, sauce soaked, pork ribs, meaty, tender. I'm full. Where to next?
All new Burgers Brew and Q, Tuesday at 9. Cooking Channel. Stay fired up.
If your loved one is struggling, trying to maintain independence in their home, Acticare can help. Our caregivers provide home care services to relieve the strain placed on family and make staying at home possible. Don't let another day go by without getting the care they deserve.
We can provide your loved one the care they need and motivation and give you peace of mind. Please call to set up a free care consultation.
Acticare, responsive in-home care. Your first day is free.
Hi, I'm Brian Rott, President and CEO of Cartmart here in Laguna Woods. My family's been in the golf cart business since 1959, and we win our customers over with the simple belief of we treat you right. We are proud to be the authorized dealer for Club Car here in Orange County and your go-to source for the sales and service to other major brands. We're conveniently located on El Toro Road, just minutes from Laguna Woods. So come by and see for yourself, while when doing business with Cartmart, there's no reason to go anywhere else.
Well, as I said earlier, we have Carl and Sue here today from the United Board, and we're going to talk about what's going on in M&C and a few other things as well, right?
Right, exactly.
All right, welcome.
Welcome, thanks a lot, Ken. And Sue's here with me to address some of the solar power plant task force issues that have come up. We had our meeting on August 28th, and we had a good meeting where we reviewed the project log that provides updates on the various major projects. Right now, the project log is about 6 or 7 pages, so there's a lot of activities going on with that. We also addressed the changes that we're in the process of making to the Solar Task Force report, which Sue's committee, or actually task force, put together, and I was part of it. And that was issued last M&C meeting. And then in addition, the VMS M&C director reviewed with us the repairs that are being made to various structures due to aging and due to water damage. I have some photos that I will go over with you and the audience in a minute. I'd first like to address the project log and the budgets associated with those projects and the operating budget for maintenance and construction itself. I made the following opening remarks were made at the M&C meeting, and I'd like to go over them because I think they are specifically applicable with regard to our M&C committee. We have not yet voted on the budget for next year. However, many people have heard that we are contemplating an increase that may be in excess of $20 per month. This is still being addressed. It is a matter of course, just by the nature of things, that M&C and landscaping are major consumers of that budget. Obviously, I can only speak to M&C and its needs as identified in the project log, indicated here, and in addition to that, there's an M&C operating budget, which goes beyond the project log. Some people say that if we were more efficient or if we had better customer feedback, we would not need to increase the assessments this year. To them, I ask the question, has the cost of all the commodities and utilities you purchase outside the village gone down, or have they gone up? I would venture to guess that they have not gone down. The cost of living in Orange County is one of the highest in the country, and it affects what it costs to live here in Laguna Woods Village. We are not immune to cost increases, even though some people feel that we are insulated in this community because it costs less to live here with all our amenities than it does in the surrounding areas. Our infrastructure is 50+ years old, and it needs to be fixed and improved. Many of the items on the project log reflect infrastructure problems: fencing replacement, painting, dry rot repair, roofing, piping repair, electrical replacement and repair, gutter replacement and repair, termite infestation, and road work, just to mention a few. These are not nice to have items, these are need to have items. Oh, and by the way, we have implemented and continue to implement systems to make us more efficient and provide for better customer feedback so that we can eventually achieve 0 callbacks. However, we are not perfect and therefore mistakes are made. Even Verizon, AT&T, and others do not get it right the first time. But suffice it to say that our record is getting better month by month, Our reports indicate that we are getting better each month. United is trying to spend our budgeted money wisely. I challenge anyone that is out there that if they can spend the money more wisely than our board, then that person should run for the board and that person can take my seat. I'll give it up. We are all doing the best that we can to keep costs down. There is always someone that can come up with a short-sighted idea that is either not based in fact or will eventually cost us twice as much in the future. That is penny wise, pound foolish. But that is not the way it should be done, and I personally do not agree with those ideas. An example of an item that is short-sighted or based on erroneous information or uninformed is the issue that has been brought up that we can purchase a dishwasher in a local store that is cheaper than the amount that was shown in the 2019 budget. Not the 2020 budget that we're addressing right now, but 2019, last year's budget. First of all, a budget is an estimate based on info we had at the time the budget was developed. For the item in question, it was pointed out that the 2019 budget showed a cost of $649, yet you could purchase that item in a local DIY store for $150 less. However, it was never mentioned that the DIY store price did not include for the installation, parts for the install, and a permit that was required by the city at the time of the entry into the budget. The DIY store price did not contain any of those items, and it also does not include the haul-away costs. Do not be fooled by people that say things without any facts to back them up. And the second item that we wanted to get into here is the fact that the Solar Power Plant Task Force issued at the last MNC meeting was the Solar Power Plant Task Force report that was issued at the last meeting and it was part of the agenda that was presented at the MNC meeting. It was identified and it was written down and it was a matter of record. Since its publication and its issuance at the last MNC meeting, certain people have come forward and taken issue with some of the items mentioned in that report. First, let me say that the report was generated to review our solar power plant that provides energy to our laundry facilities, and also some of that generated energy we sell back to SCE. This power plant was envisioned as an electrical cost-saving enterprise for United, since the cost of electricity is going up every year, and the cost of electricity is not cheap in Orange County. The task force took on this review to determine if our solar power plant was doing what it was intended to do, and to determine if there was something that we could be doing to make it better for the future. The report was intended to determine the history of its implementation and determine if its current management could be improved. As a part of the process for determining the history of its implementation, we found that some of the history was not documented, and so the report, as currently published, was based on doing a lot of searches and asking questions. When we published the report, we thought we had all the areas covered. However, since then it has come to light that some of the published information was inaccurate, and as a result of these inaccuracies, we were laying blame for mistakes that may have been made. First off, laying blame was not the intent of the report, and some of the inferred mistakes were not correct due to the inaccurate information on which they were based. To correct any inaccuracies, we are revising the report. Therefore, the report that was part of the MNC agenda in our Wednesday meeting is in the process of being revised, so wait until the new corrected report is issued before you question its contents. Once we were informed that the solar report may contain some inaccuracies, and inaccurate information rather, we were also informed that Sue Margolis, the chair of the Solar Power Plant Task Force, who's sitting right next to me right now, had made some inaccurate comments regarding the report when she was last here on TV6. She would like to set the record straight for some of that information at this particular point in time. Sue?
When I was on July 6th, I was reporting on what facts we had, and many more facts have come to light, and we're going to go and do the revision as Carl said. One of the real inaccuracies I said, and I'm sorry, mea culpa, was that it cost $30 million, and nowhere near that. We could have lighted up all of Orange County for that money. It was less than $3 million was spent on solar panels. The report, the things that we found and repaired are totally correct, and we did take care of a lot of problems that we found with the solar panels. Some of the inaccuracies were in the history and the documentation of the system. It was not in what was wrong with the system, and we have repaired a lot of things, and things are working a lot better now.
All right.
We will continue to survey them.
So one of the other things that we went through at our meeting was the certain things that we need to repair in our community. And obviously with the 50-year age, it's just getting more and more prevalent, okay? These things that are repaired and everything on the project log, okay, is actually in the reserve budget. It's not in the operating budget because these are projects, okay? And each project has got a certain time period and a certain budget assigned to it and what have you. So with regard to and these are basically things that we are proactively addressing. However, there are things within the community that we have to react to because these are problems that arise that were unknowns at the time. So with regard to the reserves, some of the reserves are used to address issues that were not budgeted on a reactive basis, like it had been sustained, like if we had sustained major damage from some event and our insurance will not cover any and all of that work, okay, then we will need to cover it some way, okay? And some of these things, as is noted in the photos that I showed, okay, and I guess they're very small, okay, so maybe we can't see them all. But in any case, in situations where we find unsafe conditions, like was indicated in these photos, where a wall was buckling because of water damage or just due to age or due to or the shifting of the earth itself, okay? You have a situation, you don't know that this is going to happen. You built it this way 50 years ago, what have you, okay? And then over time, things happen, okay? So as a result of that, we don't want to create an unsafe condition. Now, I mentioned one of these things that's on here right now, okay, is a wall that when I was doing my walking, okay, I happened to see that this wall was sort of buckling, where it was not up and down. You should see that it's sort of like at an incline, okay? So if you see that, you should really say something and contact our people at Residence Services, okay, to inform them of that so that somebody can actually take care of that. So the fact that we're doing reactive work on some of these items, okay, means that we should have a reserve that is hefty. Now, it shouldn't be overblown, it should be adequate. And so as a result of that, I personally feel as a board member that the reserves are okay. Some other people feel that we have it too inflated. I'm not going to go into the details right now because this is on M&C. But under the circumstances right now, I feel that it's adequate for what we need to do with those reserves. And these particular photos show reactions to these particular things. Next year, we are going to be proactive with regard to these things, whereby we are going to put into effect things on putting more gutters in, because what happens is some of these roofs do not have gutters. The water cascades onto the ground. It caused water damage at the foot of the thing, okay, and it then starts to undermine foundations and what have you. It's not a good thing.
Right.
Some of our gutters do not have enough capacity in them, so I mean they look like teacups, okay, if you look at them, okay. They're not really, today they've got these really 5-inch and 7-inch gutters, okay, that actually provide for a lot more water, okay, and some of the storms that we have here, I used to live in Texas for 22 years. We used to have Texas thunderstorms. Over here we don't have them as bad, but so we get some downpours that are pretty sufficient. So the water damage is extensive, so we're trying to address that as part of our proactive program. On the project log for next year, we've allocated some budget to take care of some of these things. So we're working in a reactive way with our reserve funds and a proactive way with the project log and the various other activities we have. So, as I said before, people can complain about certain things, but actually ask the people that are involved in some of these activities, okay, and get a couple of feedback items from them, because sometimes people don't get the full information out to the public.
Yeah, and you bring up some very good points, like these walls here. They were put in 50 years ago, and even by today's standards, they probably wouldn't even be put in.
Exactly.
Not even the way they were, but certain things nowadays we just don't do, little decorative things like that.
If you look at one of the
footings aren't sufficient.
If you look at one of those photos, you'll see that the anchor bolt, there's a pedestal for a column, okay, and the anchor bolt that anchors that column to the footing, okay, is actually completely.
Yeah, I think it's
right here.
Yeah.
It's showing completely.
Right.
Okay, it's completely spalled away from the concrete. The concrete is no longer there, so the anchor bolt is sitting in midair.
Right.
And it's on the TV now.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's a scary situation.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's only one. Okay, if the pedestals for that particular building, okay, if all of them were like that, then we'd have a problem. There's only one, and most of the time when the structural engineers build these buildings, they have factors of safety of 2, 3, or 4.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So under the circumstances, we're not saying that the building's going to fall down. Don't anybody get scared now. Okay. We're saying that if we don't take care of these things, then there are other footings in that building could possibly see the same thing.
Yeah.
So we have to inspect them next year. We're going to do inspections, and we're going a lot more inspections, and then we're going to fix them as we see problems.
Right, right. Okay, that's a lot.
Yes,
and it's
it
a
is.
lot to.
And it's a lot of money. Okay?
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Exactly. And but you know, a lot of people are very much upset over the fact that assessments go up, and you know, I'm on a fixed income. I'm retired also, okay? I'm paying the same thing as everybody else,
Yeah.
so.
And you know, we've all gone through this who own homes before. I just had to replace a fence that goes around our pool.
Right.
Did I want to do that? Did I want to
No.
spend the money? But it's been there for so many years. It's getting a little rusty. I got to do it before it falls down. So
Exactly.
it's the same thing on a smaller scale, but it's the exact same thing.
So I mean, we definitely need to take care of these things here in the village, okay? And unfortunately, it's not cheap. Not here in Orange County, it's not cheap.
No.
So
that's for sure.
That's it.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank
Sue,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Long reach. Take
Yep.
care. We'll be right back. You know.
If you truly want to make a difference, there's no better way than a career in California water, a dynamic, essential industry at a critical turning point.
Water is absolutely the most crucial thing hitting our Central Valley and our state.
It's work that's so essential that people want to stick with it if they're in it.
It will be life-changing, not only for yourself, but for generations to come.
Through times of drought, aging infrastructure, and a growing population, the water leaders of tomorrow will seek innovative solutions to unprecedented challenges, helping protect California's most vital resource.
We have to broaden our network so that we can bring all the bright minds together to solve a problem that has to be solved.
It's a valuable resource. We need to protect it, and we always need people to do that.
The water business isn't just about delivering water, moving it from point A to point B. A new wave of opportunities are emerging, from working in the field to a water quality lab, shaping policy in a boardroom to customer service and human resources, tackling complex regulations, or leveraging technology for critical improvements in water efficiency and sustainability.
It's not just building pipes and pump stations anymore.
We need engineers, we need those in the hard sciences, we need those in the soft sciences, people that understand law, understand public policy.
You need the accountants, you need the rate setters.
We need all types and all hands on deck.
There's nothing more central to California's future than carrying on the water industry's mission.
It's a tremendous responsibility we have in delivering that water resource that you can't live without.
If you really want to make an impact, then this is where you're going to have the most impact.
In California Water, you'll find a vast array of long-term, well-paying careers with numerous opportunities to grow and make your mark. and new initiatives welcoming the next generation.
It makes me feel like I can make a real big difference.
If you think that this industry is a non-changing industry, that's exactly the reason why you have to get involved. That's why you have to come in to affect that change.
It's only going to become more important as years go on, too.
Why not be that person to take the water industry to the next level?
We're going to have to be more innovative, we're going to have to collaborate more, and we'll need a new generation to help us do that.
The impact that your service will bring to public service and to water in general will last for generations to come.
Welcome back, Mike Gaskins, and Mike is one of the directors on the El Toro Water District Board, and good to have you back. Welcome. You were here, what is it?
Just 2 months ago.
Yeah, about 2 months ago. You guys all
I must be getting popular.
You must be, yes. Well, great to have you here. Today we're talking about these, let's see if I can pronounce it, polyfluoroalkyl.
Per and polyfluoroalkyl.
Oh, per and poly. I forgot the per.
Right, they're
substances, and these are man-made chemicals that we are all used to. We all use.
Have them all
we
in our
may
body.
not know we're always using them, but you know they're the type of things that, on one hand, make our life better, but on the other hand, can cause problems in the groundwater systems.
And also in human health, although the science is still out on that. Nothing definitive, but there's strong indications that it is a health hazard. Therefore, regulations are coming down.
Right. So let's look at the slides here, and this is what we're talking about here. And you know, obviously, we all know what Teflon is, and we've probably for decades now, and our carpets and our clothing.
About 1940 was
we have
invention.
stain-resistant things on our clothes, and our carpets are a main one. You know, years and years ago, that was a big selling point. It still is,
but they're common. They're kind of everywhere, and in certain places, they've percolated down into groundwater.
Right, and then one of them, of course, fire retardants.
Right, even the firefighting foams. When you, like El Toro, had an airfield forever, right? And so they would do simulated fires and put them out, and so those foams, these chemicals, the per and polyfluoroalkanes. The two biggies, I mean, there are about 400 different chemicals. They're very slick, and that's what makes them useful. They're slick molecules, but they're also persistent. They don't break down easily anywhere. So they're in the environment. Once they get there, they stay. They biomagnify. With time, you get more of them, right? Yeah, or just you're exposed to more, right? And they don't go away. They don't break down, really. The data I've seen shows a half-life for some of them, but it's still, you know, resistant, very persistent chemicals.
Now here's you know, some of them, a little bit, you know, carpeting and upholstery and things like that. A Scotch Guard, of course, we all know about that. Fabric protector, stain repellents. You know, I was using the other day WD-40 on something. I don't know if that's part of it.
I don't think so.
You know, but you know, it's a similar type thing in that we're using things that are quite often making our lives better and easier. And in some cases, when it comes to fire retardants, things are needed.
Right.
But you got to look down the line as well.
And that's what's happening now. These two chemicals, the PFOA and the PFOS, are the two that are being looked at most accurately or most scrutinized.
Right.
There are others, hundreds of others, but these are the two that are receiving the regulatory attention and the current level, and I think that maybe your next
we'll go to the next slide that shows the impact. And you can kind of see there the graph on this side here, how it goes in and out of our lives, so to speak.
Exactly, and then, but being in the groundwater, the water districts that pump groundwater are introducing or delivering these chemicals to their customers.
Right, and I know we'll get to this in a minute, but I know We don't use groundwater. El Toro Water District does not. In fact, South Orange County in general doesn't, right?
Most of South Orange County doesn't. There are a few
Yeah.
wells down in the Santa Margarita, and I don't think they're operating.
Okay.
Our new general manager, Dennis Cafferty, who generously put these slides together for me, saved me a lot of trouble, made a statement the other week about this is the first time I've ever been glad we don't have groundwater.
Yes,
but El Toro doesn't have any groundwater.
So on the next slide, it just shows how people being tested for this, and the different percentages, parts per billion. Would that be trillion?
Parts per trillion. That's such a tiny amount.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking at, and we can measure. Technology is getting better to actually be able to measure these.
Right.
There's only one lab in Orange County that can do the test, and that's the Orange County Water District up in Fountain Valley. And their specially trained staff can't go out and have fast food. They have to keep a log of everything they touch for at least a week before they do the test, because this is such a sensitive test. It's measured to this parts per trillion.
Yeah.
And there's a slide later that will show, try to put that parts per trillion in perspective in terms of how tiny that is. And the regulatory level is at this 70 micro or nanograms per liter. That's parts per trillion.
Let me ask you something, and you may not know the answer to this. When it's this tiny, does it really have any effect on us?
That's the big $24,000, $64,000 question.
Yeah.
Indications, most of the lab work's been done with rats.
Right.
Very little with human.
Yeah.
There are definite health issues in rats that probably translates to human, which is why we're beginning to see this regulatory peek at it. The regional board is the one who's going to be establishing this with the EPA first and then the state.
Yeah.
And so the combination level right now is 70, but there are coming in any minute almost, the state may come in with regulations that lower that. Their recommendation, if you're above the 70 parts per trillion level, that legally you have to notify your governing board, and it's good sense to notify the public, but they're also recommending that you take the wells offline.
Okay.
And so if you don't take the wells offline, it's not required, but I can just see lawsuits coming out of the woodwork everywhere if we don't. So some of the water districts that have a lot of wells, like strong dependence in Central and Northern California or Northern Orange County, this could have millions and millions of dollars of impact on them.
Right.
Just changing the number from 70, which they currently meet, down to these lower levels.
Right.
Which would be, we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, we won't get into the politics of it, but who reads the Proposition 65 things? And they're on everything. The last slide here, kind of going what you're over here. Response level and things.
Can we back up to the other one?
Oh yeah, we can go to the other one that has
back up one more.
Has a
I wanted
picture
to
of like an eyedropper on it.
I wanted to show that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
trying to put parts per trillion into perspective. On the right, the two graphics. One part per trillion is about 1,000 times smaller than a drop of water in an Olympic pool.
Okay.
Or, if you want to give more, 10 drops added to the Rose Bowl if it were filled with water.
Wow.
That's 1 part per trillion.
Yeah.
So tiny more. Even the fact that we can even measure at that level with any degree of confidence is impressive.
Yeah.
But it's also regulated at that level.
Okay. Now the couple of slides we have, again, what you've been talking about, some of the goals here, and seeing what will happen.
And it's going to be, I think, a couple of the water districts up north are just, biting fingernails, waiting to see what the state does with these regulations. And at the same time, the level heads seem to be saying, we don't really know. The science hasn't really proven that there's a genuine health risk, and at what level.
Right.
So should we wait till we have a little more good science to base these regulatory levels on, especially with the impact it's going to have? And I don't know if that message is going to resonate and come to fruition, or whether or not they're going to move ahead and
Because
choke it.
you have to have a solution then.
Right, there has to be a solution.
Yeah.
The good thing is, and none of the water treatment processes except reverse osmosis take these out of the water.
Okay.
Right. So the water that comes into us, we get all our water again. We've done this from mostly metropolitan, or from Metropolitan Water District, but Colorado River in Northern California. None of that water has these chemicals in it. So we don't have to worry about it. Their filtration process wouldn't take it out.
Right.
And nothing we do to water would take it out as well. But reverse osmosis, which can be done to all the water, but very expensive.
Okay.
And down at Carlsbad with the desalination plant, right, there's a reverse osmosis plant. The water comes out so pure that they actually have to add chemicals or minerals back into it, because then the water won't be as hungry, so to speak. If you put that highly treated water, no minerals in it, into your pipes, it'll begin to eat your pipes because it wants to dissolve all these things out of it.
Wow, interesting.
So your pipes, so they're actually putting in minerals to protect your plumbing.
Wow.
From the quality of the water. So that would be but reverse osmosis costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Probably about 2 to 3 times what water would cost now.
Wow. Well, I thank you for this information. And
well,
I know
the message I want to leave at the end of it is, here in El Toro Water District, we do not have any PFOs, PFOAs in our water, in our drinking water. You have it in your system, and you are giving it to us in the sense of going to the treatment plant.
Right.
And so, yes, our wastewater stream, our reclaimed water stream, does have PFOs, PFAs in it. And again, we don't know at what level because we're not testing it.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, it's going to be an interesting political thing.
Well,
don't worry about it today. Not here in El Toro.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Good to see you. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha Na Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for peace.
Welcome back. Well, it's a pleasure today to have on Jim Graham, and he's the owner of Santa Margarita Toyota. And since I live up there in Rancho Santa Margarita, it's a place that I've been to and pass by all the time. So it's great to have you here. And
thank you very much.
Welcome. You've been part of that community for quite a long time, right?
We have. My wife and I moved to Coto de Caza in 1995 when I had just purchased the land to build Santa Margarita Ford.
Yeah.
And then we built the dealership in 96 and opened in 97.
Wow. So I remember first going up there around 97, and then we moved there in about 2004. So it's great that you own the Toyota dealership. I think, what, about a year you've had that?
No, it's been actually 3 years.
Has it really? Wow.
So we were the pioneers with the Ford dealership, and then the Toyota dealership came in 2004, and it came up for sale 3 years ago. It seems like a year. It's gone by really quickly.
Yeah, and I have to say, because although we haven't gotten a Toyota from you, we've gotten a couple Fords up there. And the experience has always been really good, just over the years. Even sometimes we've gone there and just looked around, or you bring food trucks in or whatever it might be. And the people are really nice. There's never any high pressure. It's just a pleasant experience.
Well, thank you. We work at that. That's not by accident.
So you've had Toyota now for about 3 years. What kind of changes have you made? What do you do and go in and say, you know what, I want to change the atmosphere of the place, or, I mean, it was pretty good before, but I found there's a big difference.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I'd like to tell you that we can go in. I thought we would go into the dealership and we would make a lot of changes simultaneously, and it would be a far better place to do business. And I think I was naive in that regard. Everything has taken longer and cost more than I thought it would.
Yes.
But part of it was they had a good service department. It's a much better one today. We've done a lot more training, and that was necessary to do. Mm-hmm. And the issue, I think the reason the store was for sale, it was sort of a Me Too Toyota dealership. It didn't stand for anything. Mm-hmm. And we've tried to brand it as a place that customers want to go. You're treated with respect and transparency, and I don't think that was happening before.
Right. Now, you said when it came to Ford, 97, mm-hmm. What did you do before that?
I was the Ford dealer in Downey, up in Los Angeles County, and my father had built that dealership in 1951.
Oh, wow.
So my entire life, I've been in the car business, and it's been putting food on the table one way or another.
So I think of all the changes you have seen, not just in the way things are done. As you know, years and years ago, things weren't mm-hmm. quite as upfront as they used to be, but really the safety and the technology that are in the vehicle. It doesn't matter which brand it is. It's just incredible.
Everybody makes a good car now. The quality of cars is excellent. And today the technology is overwhelming. And when you get to be our age, it's really overwhelming.
Yeah.
But everybody makes a great car today. But the big difference in the way customers go to shop for cars is that when I first started doing this, the dealer had all the information.
Right.
He knew the competitive comparisons. He knew what things should sell for. It was hard for a customer to do research unless you get some from advertisements, but you had to read articles in Popular Mechanics and things like that. Whereas today, you can be home in your pajamas with a cup of coffee, and you can learn more in an hour on price comparisons, and not even price comparisons, but model comparisons.
Yeah.
Anything you want to compare. And our job is to make sure that when you do come in, we know at least as much about the product as you do.
Right.
Because if you've spent a whole lot of time researching it, you may be a step ahead if we're not careful.
And I'm one of those people who do a lot of research. We lease our cars. I do it for my wife, but I'll go and look at everything, look at prices from here to there, and all kinds of things. Now, you folks have up there what's called Easy Price. So what is that?
This is a concept that I love. And if you think about it, one of the things that hasn't changed in the car business forever is the fact that when you come in as a customer and you ask a simple question, oh, what's the price on that car? Mm-hmm. You either get met with a question, which is, oh, do you have a trade-in? Are you going to finance it?
Yeah.
Or an answer like, well, let's go in and is it the one you want? Well, then we'll go in and we'll find out what it costs.
Right.
Whereas, let's just tell you what the price is. So what we do is we shop our competition relentlessly. We also take into account supply and demand throughout Southern California and availability, and we just price the car on the money every day. And we post that price on the cars, we post it online, so you can find out what it's going to sell for, and that doesn't change. So there's no games and there's no back and forth. We don't start high, you start low, and we go through all that brain damage of negotiation, trying to find out what's the least we'll take and what's the most you'll pay.
Yeah, and that's something that in some cases, I'm one of those people kind of enjoyed that process. My wife hated it, so I would be the one that would go in and kind of do that. But I don't think anybody really enjoys it all that much, because what else do you buy that you do that with?
Nothing. That's the point. And you get fixated on asking about the price because you're nervous about it. And so we've, as an industry, we've trained people to be fixated on the price when really that's secondary. It should be, what is the car, what equipment does it have? Does it do the job for me? Is it the right car for me to buy for my use? And by posting our best price up front and making that completely transparent and available, then as a customer, you can relax, number one, and number two, you can enjoy the process of learning about the car.
Yeah, and that's important because nowadays there's a lot to learn.
Well,
when it comes to the tech part of it.
There's no question, especially in our age group, there's so much technology to learn.
Yeah.
And so what we find that in a scenario where you come in and you negotiate the price, number one, it takes too long. It takes a couple hours to buy a car because you're going back and forth. But also, because you're worn out and the customer's explaining how all this technology works, you're not listening. You're wiped out.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
A lot
that's
of times someone will drive off in a car on Sunday afternoon and they've been shown how to sync up their phone for the Bluetooth, and they've learned how to use the navigation and a bunch of other stuff, and by Thursday they can't remember any of it. And then they'll call and they'll say, can I come back, can we do this again? So we think it's a lot more fruitful to spend your time when you're purchasing the car to do that at the same time, as opposed to going through this kabuki play of finding the price that is the right price to pay.
Very true. You know, my wife says that to me, that I'm not listening.
So
anyway,
is mine.
Yeah. Let's talk about service. And, you know, we got this graphic up behind us, and
that's a great picture.
Yeah, the service area, and you've got is right over there. I mean, it's a very large dealership.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It is
and service
huge
is important
for being in Rancho Santa Margarita.
Yeah.
And but we found a way to use all of it.
Yes.
But we do. We have a huge service department, and we've hired about. We have 8 more technicians working in the service department than we did when we started.
Wow.
So we have a lot more capacity, and we have a lot more inventory than when we first bought the dealership.
And you know, that's important to people because when it comes to service, especially if you want something fairly quick, the standard, you don't need the same service nowadays than what you used to, a tune-up every 100,000 miles, but an oil change and all.
I restored a 51 Ford. And in the owner's manual, it tells you to go back to the dealer for some sort of, for a checkup, if nothing else, every 90 days or 1,000 miles. Can you imagine that today?
Wow.
Whereas now we have oil changes that go out 7,500 miles, in some cases 10,000 miles. So we have actually about half our business in the service department on any given day is really just oil changes and a little bit extra.
Right.
So we have 6 technicians who just do quick service and oil changes and turn around the car in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and I'm sure you do too, where you used to have what was called break-in oil.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's because you could have little metal shavings or fragments within the engine that would collect.
And you were told don't drive the car over 50 miles an hour for the first 90 days or 3,000 miles.
Good thing we don't have that now.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when it comes to Toyota, you probably have the biggest selection of vehicles, I think, of any make out there.
We do, because we have the most space, which makes it nice.
Yeah.
And Toyota is in 12 different segments of the market.
Yes.
So you have everything from Corollas and Camrys on up to Sequoias and Highlanders and 4Runners and that sort of thing. So what we've tried to do, some of the biggest Toyota dealers in the country happen to be within 20 miles of here.
Right.
So I can't have the same amount of inventory that they do, but we can be better by our sales process. And anything we don't have on any given day, we can get in a day. That's easy
true.
to do.
What, just out of curiosity, what are some of the bigger sellers nowadays? Is it still like the RAV4? And
the RAV4 is probably our best seller right now.
People love the more personal
absolutely,
SUVs now.
And the Tacoma pickup is on a big roll.
Right.
And the Camry is still the best-selling car in America, and it's such a good value.
Yeah, and they recently, I think the 2019s got redesigned. And
correct.
I saw you folks over at the RSM Fest, that the Chamber of Commerce
Rancho Fest, right.
Rancho Fest. And you had this Camry there, the sport model, and had these red and black seats.
Exactly.
And I was like, wow, that doesn't look like the Camrys of yore that were fairly boring.
Right. Toyota always has been known for having a solid Camry, but not take chances, that sort of thing with styling, and
they took some chances.
They took some chances.
Yeah, it looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, and it rides like a dream.
Yeah, it really does. So you folks, you're not far, at least for me, but even from here, because I I commute from that area every single day, and maybe it takes me 15 minutes, so it's not far away. And I always tell people the way I go home, I go up El Toro. It's better than Alicia when you go
Absolutely.
like that. El Toro to Santa Margarita Parkway, and then you would just take a right and keep going. And now when you get into Santa Margarita, it's off Esperanza, so it's Impressa,
that's right, which runs between...
I still don't know the streets up there.
You know, I don't either. They go a lot of different directions. But Impressa runs between Antonio and Santa Margarita Parkway. It sort of it forms the bottom of a triangle.
Yeah, so it's right over there, and it's great to have you on. Because,
well, thank you very much. I did want to point, I was asked by our service manager to tell people that although we don't have enough people to pick up and deliver cars from Laguna Woods, if you bring your car up for service, we'll make sure that we Uber you back home, and we'll pay for that.
Okay.
And that's a little nudge that we can add.
That is fantastic. Great to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ken.
And once again, I have to say thank you to him, because we were talking before. Years ago, he kind of negotiated with the city and gets a little land trade and all this kind of stuff, and brought In-N-Out Burger up to RSM.
That's right.
So
it's one of my great achievements.
And it's cool because you're eating your hamburgers, and you know, you see a little car show right there, right?
That's not by accident either.
I don't think it is, but I love it, and I thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll be right back.
#1 choice for wood flooring and more is LA Carpet.
Now during their 2-day sale, visit their showroom now and get 65% off wood flooring, laminate, and waterproof flooring.
Plus, get 5-year, 0% financing.
LA Carpet, #1 for you.
Well, this is our movie that is going to be on today, Friday at 2 o'clock. And at 7 o'clock, it's called Between Land and Sea. And it's a really interesting documentary about the surfing culture, of all places, in Western Ireland. Who knew? But it's grown quite big. And you know what I like about this film? It's not just about surfing. That's a good part of it. But it's also about this small community, this family who owns sort of a community farm, or not owns it, but you know, works on it. Here's the family right here. So it's a little bit of everything, but I could not imagine doing that. But then again, I don't surf, but just spectacular footage here. And about an hour and a half, so it's not very long, brought to you by Kaiser Permanente. Now, our Monday movie is a movie that was written and directed by Emilio Estevez, and he stars in this as well. It's called The Public, and it's about sort of an act of civil disobedience, not really in a bad way, but it turns into a standoff with police when homeless people in Cincinnati take over a public library to seek shelter from the bitter cold. This came out just recently. Wow, it says July 2019, so it didn't come out that long ago. But of course, Emilio Estevez, if I could pronounce his name, Emilio Estevez is Martin Sheen's son. As he gets older, he looks just like him, doesn't he? Alec Baldwin is this, and Taylor Schilling. And this will be Monday at 2 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. So enjoy that one. Couple announcements. You know, the Aqueducts have 2 more showings tonight and Saturday night. And the show starts at 8 o'clock. You can get over there early at 7 and get your tickets. You can also pick up tickets at Clubhouse 1, 2, 5, and 7, and at the Recreation Department right here in the Community Center. We still have the flyer that says you can go online. I don't know if I do that at the last minute, you know, considering it's tonight and tomorrow. But if you want more information, you can call or text 949-246-6593. But you can go over there and get tickets at Clubhouse 1. That's where it's at Pool 1 tonight at 8 o'clock, and the gates open at 7 if you'd like to enjoy that. And kind of an interesting side note to this, there is a new series that's coming out, The World According to Jeff Goldblum, and he was here. He did something about the Aqueducts. Now, the only way you'll be able to see that is coming in November when the new streaming service Disney Plus starts up. It's kind of like Netflix or something like that. This is Disney's, and this is going to be one of, oh, Jeff, sorry about that, I mispronounced his name. But that'll come up, and so if you want to see that, he did a piece here, so that'll be really interesting to see. Now, a couple other announcements. Earthquake Expo that's coming up on Saturday, September 14th. And this is being put on by the Disaster Preparedness Task Force. So if you'd like to go to that, we'll give you more information. We've got a couple weeks to go on that, but just to let you know, that's going to be a big event. They're going to have an earthquake simulator, and that'll all be at the Performing Arts Center. The weather, well, unfortunately, today is nice. It is warmer today than it was yesterday, but we're going to get heat and humidity that is just going to come through over the next several days. And, you know, I said earlier it's going to feel like Florida, but fortunately without the hurricane. And, you know, that's the good part. We'll just have heat and humidity. Now, you know, I put down there in the mid to upper 80s. I'm kind of thinking now it might get warmer than that, but you know, this area is a little tricky because we still get the coolness of the coast that comes in, and the coast is still going to be pretty darn nice over the weekend. So other areas, if you just go in 2 or 3 miles, if you go in to Mission Viejo and all, you're going to be seeing in the 90s. If you go a little bit further, you're going to be seeing in the hundreds over in Riverside County, all those towns over there. Palm Springs is going to be about 115 this weekend. A lot of the state, though, is going to be pretty darn nice. It's not going to be too bad at all. So it's going to be mainly down here in Southern California. That's because of the high pressure system that forms over Arizona, brings in that monsoonal moisture and brings us this heat and humidity. All right, you have a good weekend, and we will see you, you know, Labor Day. We'll have this day on, and then we will see you on Tuesday. Take care. Bye-bye.